Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Ladies and gentlemen, we just witnessed the New York Knicks take a loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves, 121-112 in their second preseason game. But I thought there was a lot to chew on in this basketball game. A lot of things to talk about. A lot of things happened tonight. Some good things happened tonight, I believe. You know what I mean? So yeah. Josh, what's poppin' with you, brother? How you feeling?
Salute them, salute Tony, salute the MBK family, salute to the chat. I agree. I think there was definitely a lot of things that we could take away from this ball game. It's preseason, everyone, so it's a loss, yeah, whatever. But preseason is about development. It's about seeing and getting the guys ready for when the games count. So yeah, I agree, Sam. There's a lot that we can take from this game.
Yeah, lot we could take away. And we'll get to that all the way at the end, you know, our biggest takeaways from the game. But, you know, the Knicks started off the game, they started off with a lead, like 11-2 or something like that. I thought the first unit looked in sync. I'm not going to say the offense was great, but they looked in sync. You know, the second unit was it was better because I think the rotations in the first half were a little bit tighter than in the second half. You didn't see that Jericho Sims and Mitchell Robinson duo until the end of the first half, right? So I thought you saw a little bit more of what the rotation might look like in that first half, you know, until you got to maybe the second half of the second quarter, you know. But the Knicks, you know, the score kept, you know, flipping and flopping. The Knicks go up 9, Minnesota go up 8, the Knicks go up, Minnesota go up. You know what I mean? I thought when the Knicks starters were in the game, when the Knicks' main rotation players were playing, I thought they outplayed Minnesota when their main rotation guys were playing. It was when, you know, Tom Thibodeau really started throwing in lineups that weren't used to working together that you saw, the game, you know, for the Knicks to score kind of flip over. But, you know, for the most part, it was a preseason game. Actually, the first quarter and a half, you know, they were playing the game pretty aggressive, like it was a regular season game. You know, they were playing a pretty tough game. But, you know, it was a fun game to watch for a while. Then when it got down to the end, it was kind of like, all right, what's going on? But, you know, you come to expect that anyway, right? Come to expect that. The Knicks were led by RJ Barrett, 23 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. He shot 6 for 15 from the field, 2 for 8 from the three-point line. Next in line was Miles McBride. He ended up with 16 points. Because he was, you know, killing it in the fourth quarter, Miles McBride was. And then Evan Fournier got playing time throughout the game. We'll talk about that. He had 15 points and 4 rebounds. Jalen Brunson had 9 points. Mitchell Robinson, 8 points, 7 rebounds. Julius Randle, 7 points, 8 rebounds. He was 2 for 5 from the three-point line. Only shot 25% from the field. Quentin Grimes, 4 points. Only took 5 shots on the night. Played 21 minutes. Isaiah Hartenstein, I thought, made some really good passes when he was playing up at the top of the key with the second unit. And Emmanuel Quickly, 9 points, 1 assist. You know, and I see Josh still, from all the way from last season, still hasn't put a battery in that smoke detector.
It's next door. It's not me. Trust me. It's not me. It's next door.
But anyway, Tony, what's popping with you, brother? How you doing?
What's good, Sam? Josh, chat, Yo Black, it's time. I'm good. I'm tired. I'm gonna stay on for about 30 minutes with you, but had to check in.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, it was a good three quarters. You know, then you know it got out of hand in the fourth, but those were all guys fighting for, you know, spots and to be seen by other teams and things of that nature. I felt like like you said, our main guys played well. And then the 2 guys who are like fighting for rotation spots, McBride and Fournier, they had good showings. You know what I mean? Like, so it was kind of like the guys that are ready, and the other guys, you know, we got to see them. I guess that was good. We got to see him.
Yeah.
Roby looked all right. He looked pretty decent.
Yeah, Isaiah Roby played 11 minutes, all in the fourth quarter. 5 minutes, 2 assists, 2 rebounds. I guess my first question I want to ask and get your reaction to is, how do you think the lineup looked when RJ Barrett played backup 4, Josh Hart played the 3, or I don't want to say Barrett played backup 4. RJ Barrett played with the second unit, right? And you had Emmanuel Quickly, Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, RJ Barrett, and Isaiah Hartenstein. How'd you feel about that lineup?
Me first or Tony?
Yeah, you can go first, Josh.
I liked it. I liked it better than the Sims lineup. I'll tell you that much.
Much
much better. I mean, I'm still not sold on it yet, but I definitely liked it better than that one. Josh Hart again, energizer buddy when he gets the ball going in transition. I think that helps RJ's game. That gets him going downhill. The Knicks can grab rebounds off the glass after a good defensive possession, and I think that is going to help RJ if that lineup continues to be out there. So, yeah, I'd rather that one than the Sims one for sure. I think it looked good.
Yeah, I thought that lineup looked pretty good too. Tony, did you get a chance to
Was
that
that in the first quarter or the second quarter?
It was in the second quarter.
Then I didn't get to see
either end of the first quarter, beginning of the second quarter.
Yeah.
But I think it was more in the second quarter. Tibbs really did stagger his rotations in that first half. You know what I mean? Jalen Brunson got a chance to play with the second unit some. You know what I mean? So he really did stagger the rotations. Jalen Brunson didn't play in the second half at all. You know, but I do think that lineup, I thought it looked good. I thought that they were obviously faster than Minnesota. And Minnesota was playing with Naz Reid and Karl Anthony and Rudy Gobert at the time. Naz Reid and Rudy Gobert. And it didn't seem to affect the Knicks at all, not on the boards. I don't know what the final numbers are with those in that time period as far as rebounds is concerned, but it didn't seem to affect the Knicks as far as rebounding was concerned or playing defense. You know, it seemed like it was pretty decent, and they were faster. They were able to get out on the break. As a matter of fact, I thought the Knicks did a good job fast breaking for most of the first half. You know, they're doing a much better job running the lanes and spreading the floor in the fast break. Their fast breaks looked good. In the past, their fast breaks would be tight, close together, and all discombobulated. You know, but I thought they did a good job with it. You know, any thoughts about how they looked on the break tonight? I don't know what their transition numbers are, but any thoughts about it? Either one of you.
Well, I seen the game in spots, you know what I mean, because I was working, so I couldn't just watch it consistently, but I did see a lot of backdoor cuts with passes from Hartenstein. Caught RJ. RJ had a real good first quarter. I got to really watch the first quarter and the third quarter.
Okay.
Third quarter on, so I really missed the second. Well, RJ had a great first half for sure. They look good. They look good. Like they look like we keep talking about the continuity, but I feel like you can see it more. You can see it more on the court. You can see it more on the bench as well. And I don't know. We didn't win the game, but I like what I saw in that first quarter. They were playing like it was a real game. You know what I mean? Like it didn't look like a preseason game.
As far as the transition game is concerned, I think, again, just like I said last season, right? The Knicks in the half-court offense, the half-court offense is going to go through periods where it's going to struggle, right? Because we don't have that quote-unquote ball handling or that pull-up shooting out there. So the transition game, particularly from that second unit, is going to help us score some points. So I like the fact that when the Knicks are playing, and that lineup, I think even defensively, because they're so fast and they get into passing lanes with DiVincenzo, Hart, and sometimes RJ, because they can get into those passing lanes, or at least go out to contest shots a little bit better than the first unit, in my opinion. I think that allows them to get that rebound and just go ahead and push the ball up the floor. And even when Minnesota had people back there, it still seemed like the Knicks were in fast break mode because, like you said, they're getting into those lanes. You saw Dante DiVincenzo hit Evan Fournier on the corner at corner three, off of, wasn't really a fast break. It was just Evan Fournier was spotting up in that corner. So that second unit, that transition game led by Josh Hart, It's what's going to help that second unit score points, in my opinion, and they're going to need that this season for sure from that second unit.
Yeah, and though the passing up the floor, you're talking about that pass from Dante DiVincenzo to Evan Fournier, he knocked down the three, but you also seen one from Jalen Brunson to Evan Fournier. Those are the smart plays and the extra passes that can really take your team to another level, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Because, you trust that person is going to make the shot or take the shot, you know what I mean? So you're getting it up quick. And I thought the Knicks did a lot of, even in the first preseason game, I thought they did a good job of looking up the floor and not trying to advance the ball with 4 or 5 dribbles to get up the floor, but passing it up the floor when it was available. I thought they're doing a much better job with that. I
feel like they look first. That's the first thing they do when they get the rebound is look up the floor first. And I think Hartenstein had an interview where he kind of talked about it. After the first game, they asked him specifically, basically, how do you do it? He's like, the first thing I do is look up the floor, catch somebody in the peripheral, catch the angle. If that's not there, you know what I mean, then I'm looking for the closest guard.
Right.
And so forth and so forth. So
and kudos to Evan Fournier for getting to that spot, to get into that corner spot in that fast break, because a lot of players won't do that. Some players will just go to the basket and try to clear away so the ball handler can actually get to the or clear it out so the what am I saying right now? They would actually go to the paint and look for that pass underneath the basket to try to get a layup. But Evan Fournier got to that spot on the floor and he got that wide open three. So kudos to him. And I know we're going to talk about him a little bit more as well. But that's good on him.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what you're supposed to. You run to your sweet spot and wait for the guards or whoever it is, to get the ball up to you in your sweet spot. But yeah, I think the Knicks are doing a really good job looking up the floor, running the lanes in transition, with proper spacing. So it's making room. I can remember times, especially in the first season, when Julius Randle would be like shoulder to shoulder. Julius Randle and RJ Barrett, shoulder to shoulder on a fast break. And I'm like, what are you doing?
I remember you complaining about it. like bad times.
You know what I mean? But it looks much better. Hopefully they continue to run the break that way, but they look much better and smoother running that fast break. And if they can be a dog in transition like that, you know what I mean? That makes them really, really tough. When you got a guy like Julius Randle going downhill, RJ Barrett's doing a good job getting downhill and attacking when he's going downhill. Josh Hart can get the ball off the glass and go and attack. Dante DiVincenzo can, Emmanuel quickly can, Quentin Grimes. Like, you got a lot of guys on this team that can attack going downhill. So if the Knicks can really get in transition that way, that can make them, really dangerous. That can make them dangerous. You know what I mean? We'll see if it continues to be that way. RJ Barrett, 12 free throws tonight. Attempted 12 free throws, 9 for 12 from the free throw line tonight. He's doing a good job getting to the line. However, over these first 2 preseason games, we'll see if it translates to the regular season. But Josh, what's your thoughts on that?
I was really impressed with RJ's performance in that first quarter. Went up strong twice against Karl Anthony Towns. First one, he got the layup in the and one. I think the second one, he tried to get that dunk, but he ain't got the hops like that to do it. But I just like the fact that he was aggressive and attempted it, right? He, used his strength to actually go up, and I think that's going to pay dividends for him during the regular season. And what did he shoot tonight? What was the percentage? You said he was his field goal percentage.
He was 40% from the field.
Right, but see, I'm not even really concerned about that. That's not a concern for me because if he's getting to the line and he's knocking his free throws down, so I'm not even worried about that 40% number, that number of the field goal percentage. As long as he's continuing to do this and make his free throws, I have no problem with it at all. I mean, that's definitely going to increase his true shooting percentage and effective field goal percentage. So yeah, I have no problem with it. Good job by him in that first quarter.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Tony, your thoughts on RJ getting to the line?
RJ looked like he ready to have a prime year. I think all that playing in the offseason,
hopefully
being a change, I think we're gonna see how it reaps benefits.
Yeah, I mean, if the Knicks can run an effective fast break, get out in transition. When the opposing team scores, get the ball out the net and get up the court quick. It's going to benefit RJ, I think, because we've seen a lot that RJ can attack when going downhill, and be able to get to the basket. So I think if the Knicks can do this consistently, it's definitely gonna help RJ. It's gonna be good for RJ. You know what I mean?
Half of that. So with RJ playing with that second unit, I know you spoke about it before. RJ is going to play with that second unit, probably be another ball handler out there. I've always said, and I'm not advocating for this again, but I always felt like RJ worked better with the second unit because they seem to play faster. I've been saying this for the last 2 years now. But also the other side to that, in the starting unit, he has to knock down that shot. Because if you got Brunson and you got Randall doing most of the ball handling, and the Knicks are going to be able to, break some people down off the dribble, and RJ is in that spot in the corner or on the wing, he has to knock down that three. So that is the other part for him, and that's where he still needs to continue to improve in that aspect of it. But because he's always been a downhill player, right? He's always been good. Once he gets that ball in his hands going downhill, particularly on fast break, he's pretty much unstoppable. He's either getting fouled or he's going to make that shot. But the next part for his game, in order to take that next step, is that shot, that pull-up shot in that first unit.
Yeah, no doubt about it. What do you think about Quentin Grimes right now in his performance? I mean, he started off, a great drive to the basket on the first bucket of the game. Then just kind of MIA after that. Is it going to be hard for him in that unit to really show what he can do?
I mean, to show what he could do, absolutely. But what he needs to do in that unit is hit open shots. Like that. That's his job. He's not going to really have opportunity in that first unit to show much more. I think that will happen if he's in that second unit at any point in time, or if one of the starters, two of the starters are out of the lineup, then he may be able to expand. So it's kind of like a tough, a tough spot to be in, because you always got the green light to make plays, but they got to be quick, they got to be decisive, and they got to be effective. Otherwise, you lose that.
Right.
See, I disagree slightly. I don't think I don't really expect that much out of Quentin Grimes. His role is catch and shoot. The point that I do agree with Tony about is you just got to make your shots. Those shots are going to be there with Randall and Jalen Brunson and those guys getting to the lane and having Mitchell Robinson down there. There's going to be opportunities for Quentin Grimes to have open shots, and he's had them, but he's just not able to knock that shot down right now. And that's all I expect from him, really. There's going to be opportunities for him to be able to make plays here and there, but I'm not expecting Quentin Grimes to take that next step in that regard. I think the thing for him right now is play within his role. And his role in that first is to knock down shots. And right now he's not doing it. I expect that to turn around because shooters are going to shoot. He's freaky, right? He's going to go through a period of times where he's just going to be automatic from three. Yeah. But he just has to be a little bit more consistent with those open looks, in my opinion.
Yeah, he was 2 for 5 today, 0 for 3 from the 3-point line. My concern, though, is that even when he plays some minutes with the second unit guys, right? Because when you look at the way the rotation was staggered, there was a point in time where he was out there with Quickly and I think maybe Isaiah Hartenstein and Josh Hart, right, before Dante DiVincenzo got in the game. And it's still the same thing. Those other guys got in, obviously Emmanuel Quickly does what he does, but Josh Hart, was more aggressive with having the ball in his hands, making things happen off the fast break than Quentin Grimes. Quentin Grimes is just, even in that second unit, just hanging around the 3-point line. You know
what it is though? Like these guys, like Josh Hart, he knows his role regardless. You know what I mean? Like we've been saying, you put him on any team, he's gonna just do what he does naturally, and he is aggressive. Grimes is just, I think he just has to figure it out. You know what I mean? The point of making it, when he starts making shots, automatically that's going to open up opportunities for him to make plays. If he starts making shots, the defense is going to change towards him. Once the defense changes towards him, now you got to be able to read and react. So that's what I mean when I say making plays. I don't think he's going to be the way we would talk about what we think DiVincenzo is going to be able to do and have the ball in his hand at times and make plays himself. I don't think Grimes is going to be doing that. Even when he makes plays, it's going to be it's going to be like off a shot fake. You know what I mean?
Right.
Those type of making plays, read and react type plays.
Yeah.
Not ball dominant.
Yeah. I guess what I want to see is, and I guess I don't know how much this is even on Grimes, but incorporate him a little bit more. Not incorporate them just a little bit more. And maybe it's going to take a little time for that to happen. You know what I'm saying? But, find ways to incorporate them a little bit more and then, see where it goes from there. But I think it's something worth paying attention to. Now the thing is, he still does fit with that unit because he's not one that needs the ball in his hands. He's going to play regardless. He's going to play hard defense. He's going to hustle regardless. So, and I'm sure he's going to have his moments. There's no doubt about it. But I do think it's something worth watching if he's not giving you the production that you're looking for. You know what I'm saying? But
Well, my question is, the alternative, obviously, we're talking about Dante DiVincenzo taking the spot, right? Because, you compared earlier in what you said, you kind of compared what Hart's doing for that second unit compared to what Grimes is doing for the starting unit. And if Grimes is better or worse with that second unit, the thing is that second unit they're going to push and they're going to plan a little bit more transition. That first unit is not. That first unit is basically built to score in the half court. And that's why Grimes is important for that. Now, if you replace, let's say you take out Grimes and you put in Josh Hart in there, I think you won't get an increase in production from the half court perspective because Josh Hart is not going to take that many threes. Quentin Grimes is. DiVincenzo, on the other hand, if DiVincenzo is able to knock down a shot, that's your natural replacement.
Yeah, no, I wasn't comparing him to Josh Hart and saying that Josh Hart would take a spot. All I was saying is that when he played in that second unit, as soon as Josh Hart got in the game, you could see things that him doing this in transition, doing that. While Grimes is still just kind of hovering around the three, waiting for something to happen. I just want to see him be. He has the ability, and maybe it's just his personality right now to be more aggressive on that side of the ball. You know what I mean? He has the ability to do it. Now I understand him being a young guy. You got some, you're out there with Brunson and Randall, so you're gonna play your role. You're gonna play your role because that's just how it works. But I think, people are, one of the things that we've talked about is, with the Knicks being, staying consistent with the roster. And one of the ways for them to get better is for guys like Quentin Grimes to take another step, right? That's one of the ways you say, okay, all right, you got the same guys, you added Dante DiVincenzo, so now you're relying on guys like Grimes, Quickly, and RJ Barrett to take another step.
Let me ask you, for Grimes, like, what could his next step just be to be consistent with the 3-point shot?
It could be
to hit those shots
he
needs to hit.
I think that could be. I think that one of his next steps is also being able to do some things off the dribble. He spoke about that as well. That the staff over the summer said that they want him being able to come off curls, come off down screens, and be able to handle the ball a little bit.
But I think to Josh's point, once he starts hitting the shots, all that stuff is going to open up. You know what I mean? Now the defense is gonna play you different. So now running off the screens and stuff. I mean, we've seen it a little bit. It's not a staple in this offense that much. So it's got to be
not by a long shot
implemented. But I think another thing that may help, and not saying it's not happening or is, but some encouragement from his teammates, like or just that whether it's Randall or Brunson, they got to let him know, like, all right, we need you to do this.
Mm-hmm.
This, you know what I mean? Because this is important for us. Like, we love
Confidence
what you
builder.
do. Yeah, we love what you're doing on the defensive
Yeah.
end, but right here, this is your bread and butter. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I mean, I'm just watching to see because there's some things that I'd like to see him be able to do. Obviously, we talked about Dante DiVincenzo, and you can see little things like, for example, coming off of maybe it was Mitchell Robinson's screen. He was able to find Josh Hart in the corner, like some things like that I'd like to be able to see Quentin Grimes be able to do some things like that too. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, playing with who you're playing with, those kind of touches are going to be limited. I'm just hoping that it can come around because that's going to make the offense more, it's just going to add more weapons and teams got to be concerned about a little bit more if he can do some of those things.
How'd you guys like Mitchell Robinson today? Because I know, like I said, I couldn't watch it straight through, but I seen a couple of plays, you know what I mean, where it wasn't just dunks, you know what I mean? Like he was going up strong, slapping boards and doing some other stuff, which different finishes, you know what I mean, through contact. So
yeah,
he's been doing that, Tony. I mean, that's nothing new from
I think he just did Mitchell Robinson.
It looked a little different today to me. I don't know.
The difference that for me that I see in Mitchell Robinson really is just the strength.
Stronger, right?
Right. He's a little bit stronger in being able to go up through people. You know what I mean? Like that. I mean, there was one time when I thought he had the opportunity to create his own shot and he didn't. I think either he got the rebound or it was in the first half. I think he got the rebound maybe in the middle of the lane and he could have power dribbled and went back up. Either he got the rebound or there was some kind of tip or broken play, but he had it in the middle of the lane. He could have boom and went up. Instead, of course, he looked to kick it back out. You know what I mean? And those are the opportunities right there that can start to open you up to your teammates and your coaches saying, yeah, let's get it to him because he was in perfect position to be able to take a power dribble and drop to the basket, and he didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? Now, Hartenstein, on the other hand, had a really nice move where he just plowed through Rudy Gobert. You know what I mean? He said, boom, boom, plowed through him and went up. Hartenstein, I thought, played a really good game today.
Is he's a lefty?
Not sure. Maybe he is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He is.
Is he? Okay. I thought he played a really good game. Hopefully the Knicks are going to continue to use his passing ability, right?
It seems to be a staple now. Like, we've seen a lot of it in just the two, preseason games to the point where I think it's a focal point.
Sim, remember one of the last shows we did, I said that anytime Tips goes to that Hartenstein and Jericho Sims lineup, I think what it is that Sims is playing the 5 and Hartenstein's playing the 4. And I think I kind of confirmed that today when not just from the offensive end, what we were doing offensively using Hartenstein's passing ability, but defensively, I think Minnesota had Naz Reid and Molasses out there. What's his name? From Minnesota.
Slow-mo,
yeah. I call him Molasses. But Molasses was playing the power forward, and Naz Reid was the center, obviously, and Sims was guarding Naz Reid. Hartenstein was guarding Molasses. So I think that's pretty much how the Knicks are using that lineup. I don't think Sims is necessarily the backup 4. I think he's the backup 5 in that situation.
Yeah, I always thought if they played together that Sims would be the 5. I mean, he's a natural 5 where Hartenstein can do more with being out on the perimeter, passing, and things like that. But, I think we got a glimpse of it today. And when the regular season hits, you're not going to see Jericho Sims getting that much. I don't think. I know Alan was saying, could Jericho Sims be the 10th man? I don't think he's going to be the 10th guy. You know what I mean? I think that's going to be in situations maybe he, uses that lineup. But I don't think it's going to be serious. I think he took a look at it, and no, I don't think so.
I really think the 10th guy is going to be a whole rotation You know what I mean? Like, depending on the situation, you might see
Could be.
Deuce in there. You know what I mean? Depending on the situation, you might see Sims.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's looking like, depending on the situation, you might see Fournier
You might.
at this point.
You might.
You know
I
what I
mean,
mean?
Fournier played a lot of minutes in that first half in the second quarter, right? Before he brought RJ back in. Now, that could have been just to give RJ some rest, right? RJ played 25 minutes. Evan Fournier played, if I can find his name, 19 minutes and 18 seconds. So we'll see. But he did go with a lineup, and we talked about it before the game even started. We asked whether he would go with a lineup of Quickly, Dante DiVincenzo, Evan Fournier, Josh Hart, and Hart, and he did. And it actually looked pretty good, to be honest with you. Looked like a competitive lineup. So maybe he is really taking. Maybe they patched it up. Hey, Tom Thibodeau patched it up with Karl Anthony Towns. Maybe they patched it up. You know what I mean? The first day of training camp, they went in the room, got their little cuss words off at each other, buried it, and went out on the court. Who knows? We'll see. But he looked good.
Sam, you know what's funny about this entire situation, and I don't believe it. I think Fournier's gone. I think he's improving his trade aspects right now. I think that's what's going to happen. But the crazy part about this is, from an offensive perspective, Fournier he fits better than Grimes offensively, in my opinion.
He does,
because he can do more. Like we've been saying, like he comes off the screens, the dribble handoff game with Randall. He can put the ball on the floor much better than Grimes, in my opinion. He fits better offensively, but
it's the defense
and his pull-up numbers. It's the defense, right?
It's the defensive
and his pull-up numbers are up there. Like the Knicks' top 2 or top 3 pull-up players last season was Julius Randle, or top 4: Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, Emmanuel Quickly, and Evan Fournier.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But at the same time, if you put him in any second unit, he fits perfect because it's gonna be defenders all around him. No matter what combination of people in the second unit you put with him,
he's got defenders around him.
He's got defenders around him.
Who knows? Maybe he is going to be out there. Maybe he's going to be the 10th guy.
That's what I mean. I think it's going to rotate.
Maybe he'll be the 10th guy.
Based on situations.
You know what I mean? But, playing with both units, he looked pretty good today. Because, he was out on the break. They were finding him out on the break. Obviously he's been in the league for a while, so he's not afraid to try to make something happen. You know what I mean? And he's at least trying on the defensive side of the ball. He just doesn't have the natural speed and those type of things to really play great defense, but he's at least working. I guess we'll see if he ends up being, one of those rotation pieces, but it definitely gives the Knicks another shooter out there, that teams are going to have to fear a little bit when he catches the ball, and adds a little bit more firepower. They only scored 112 points tonight, but the rotations were what they were. It's worth watching to see if he's going to end up being in that rotation. I don't know if he's going to, and it could be fool's gold. You know what I mean? It could be fool's gold. But listen, Evan Fournier, you know what I'm saying? He probably, is emailing Tom Thibodeau his little clip right now. Like, I can effing play. You know what I'm saying? I can effing play. He's out to prove it.
I'm not asking for him. I'm not calling for him to play. I just like the fact that he's getting the opportunity right now and he's showing it. Like, that's, you know what I mean? I'm just happy for that part.
Yeah. Keith Turner said Fournier is making the case to start at the 2. I don't think he's making a case. I mean, he can make his case if he wants to. Tom Thibodeau's not going to start him at the 2. I don't think
not with the lack of defense.
Yeah, and even if he does play, and to be honest with you, coming into training camp, in my mind, I was like, I don't think he's going to be in a rotation. But let's just say he is in a rotation. I don't think he sees a future with Evan Fournier like he sees with Quentin Grimes. He looks at Quentin Grimes and sees the future, and he looks at Evan Fournier and says, maybe a fringe rotation guy. I think that's the way he sees Evan Fournier.
I think Evan Fournier is trade bait. I'm happy he played well. Hopefully he continues to play well, and a team would want him because we need to move off that contract. And hopefully the Knicks are going to use his contract to get a bigger fish in here.
Oh, hopefully.
That $18 million or whatever is making.
That's the only reason to use it. You know what I mean? Like it ain't. I don't think it makes sense. I mean, yeah, I don't think it makes sense unless it's for a big fish. You know what I mean? Especially with this collective bargaining agreement. I'm gonna do one more topic, and I'm gonna get out of here. I got to be to work at 5.
Yeah, I feel you. You know, I got a basketball game to go watch. I'm not coaching it, just to go watch. You know, one of the young men that plays for our school. He's really good. He's a sophomore. He's got 2 offers already. Okay. You know, just going to support him play tomorrow. So, I can't be out too late either. What did you think about the staggering of the rotations in the first half of the game?
I think that is kind of what we're going to see come regular season time frame. I think that's it, what we saw. Josh Hart and RJ Barrett playing together, probably leaving RJ out there with the second unit. Quickly is going to come in for Brunson. Hartenstein is going to come in for Mitch. And that type of thing. I think that's what we're going to see. And then you'll see DiVincenzo and I already said Hart, right? Yeah. DiVincenzo and Hart come out there with that second unit. I think just how Thibodeau did it in that first half is exactly how we're going to start off the season. Now, if that remains the same throughout the course of the season, who knows? But I think that's exactly how Thibodeau is going to do it.
Okay. Because, I forgot what number Randall came out, but, somewhere around halfway through the first quarter, right? He came out. Josh Hart came in, and then he left. Like, I think Josh Hart and maybe Quickly came in at the same time, or close to the same time, and then he let them guys rock a little bit. Josh Hart, Emmanuel Quickly, Quentin Grimes, maybe I think it was RJ Barrett. I don't know if it was Mitch or Isaiah Hartenstein, but it was somewhere around there. And then Dante DiVincenzo came in for Quentin Grimes, and then you kind of had those second unit of guys out there. And RJ was out there running with those guys a little bit, and then he started moving things over. Julius Randle came in about 10 minutes left in the second quarter, and he was out there with Dante and Evan. Emmanuel Quickly a little bit. I mean, you've seen some different lineups, but this. With the way that he staggered it, there are going to be some groups that still have to get used to each other, with the way that he staggered it. But I do like the staggering better. I like that Julius Randle's not playing 6 minutes in the first quarter. We'll see if it stays this way.
Right.
But right. I hope that it stays that way.
That was the only thing I was going to say. 6 minutes for Julius Randle in the first quarter is too little. Now, at the same time, on the other hand, he shouldn't be playing full quarters. You shouldn't be playing 12 minutes, like a whole full 12-minute quarters.
No.
Right? So somewhere in the middle, 9 to 9.5 minutes, I think is a good timing for Randle to start the game off. And then I would kind of stagger it based off of that. But 6 minutes is way too little of time for Julius Randle in the first quarter.
I feel like Thibodeau made that adjustment late last year or in the playoffs.
In the playoffs.
Right?
He did that a little bit
coming
in the
in
playoffs.
at 6 minutes, coming back in at like 9 or 10 minutes left in the second.
Right.
But maybe due to injury, you think? Maybe?
I think it was due to the injury. I think that was part of it. I think that might have been part of it. But I don't mind him. Come out about 7 minutes, go back in about 9 to 10 minutes in the second quarter, get a chance. I
like that.
Because now you're filling in for that power forward. We talk about the backup power forward. You're filling in for it a little bit, right? Right? You're letting Josh Hart play it some, and you got Fournier, RJ out there, then now you're bringing Randle back in. Now, the thing is he going to go 9 minutes in the second quarter? Right? That's still kind of long. It's not too bad. Even with Jalen Brunson, now, of course, Jalen Brunson wasn't playing the minutes that he would normally play, but he went out, and then he came back in and played significant minutes with the second unit as well. right? And, so I think there was a point in time where Josh Hart, Dante DiVincenzo, and Jalen Brunson were on the court at the same time, and I think Tom Thibodeau is going to look to make that happen. I think he's going to look to make that happen. And so
I think ultimately it's going to be based off what the score is looking like. Even though tonight it seemed like we was back and forth, it was a competitive game, the whole first 3 quarters per se. So and Tibbs still went with that, but I guess if we're losing, you know what I mean, he's gonna be like, I gotta get my guys back in, because he tends to have a short leash when you know what I mean, when things aren't going right. But being that it was kind of even kill, even with the second unit, I think he could live with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I'm interested to see. I guess that fourth and final game is when we'll really see what that rotation looks like, because I guess that's going to be the dress rehearsal. Dante DiVincenzo showed some of his hands today. A couple of plucks, fast break dunks. Those right there are going to definitely help the Knicks. Those little easy buckets that you get, I mean, they help so much, right? They help so much.
Sam, I thought the Knicks did a tremendous job in that man-to-man defense, one-on-one defense between Quickly, between Grimes and DiVincenzo, and even McBride. I just feel like the Knicks have guys who can guard up one-on-one. In the backcourt, they have guards who can do that. And then outside of that, the passing lanes. I mean, they get in the passing lanes. Their hands are always active. RJ even in the passing lanes. Like I really think they played a really good man-to-man defense game today.
Yeah, they did. I mean, I think the Knicks, if their defense can be really, really good, I think this year, if everyone really commits, which they normally do, but if everyone really just commits to playing every single possession, their defense can be really good, because they got defenders all over the court, and they got guys that hustle all over the court as well. Dante DiVincenzo being one, Josh Hart, Emmanuel Quickly. I mean, he does really, really good getting in the passing lanes, getting his hands on the basketball. He's so much stronger this year. You're seeing him being able to get in the lane, get bumped, and still continue to the basket through the contact. Man, it's going to make Emmanuel Quickly tough to deal with, because his strength is,
Sim and Tony, one more thing, though, in regards to the defense, which is a negative that I'm going to say, and I think the same thing happened last season. We can't allow those cross-court passes. I think when we give those up, our defense goes in shambles. We cannot allow those. And I've seen too many times in this game, particularly Minnesota, just throwing the ball cross court, setting themselves up for swing, and they get open threes off of that and open shot space off of that. It was the same issue last season in the beginning of the season, where we're doing the same thing we're doing now. Transition game was working offensively, but we kept giving up a lot of points defensively, and I think that was one of the major reasons for it.
I felt like tonight, though, it was because those guys had long arms. Because we did give up those plays today, but the defense was there. You know what I mean? Like, they was trying to stop the ball. These guys are just throwing them passes right over them.
Yeah, I think that's one of the downfalls. If you play real tight, aggressive defense, you can be susceptible to some of those type of things. You can be susceptible to backdoor cuts because your defense is tight. When you play the type of defense that's really scrambling, you can be susceptible to, because a lot of times when you're playing that scrambling type of defense and you got people sagging into the paint, you're leaving that cross court pass open. And I know Walt Clyde says you're not, that pass should never happen, but unfortunately, if you watch a lot of basketball, you see it happen when you have a defense that's like aggressively trapping the ball, or sagging deep into the paint to protect the paint, because the guards are going to be aggressive out on the perimeter. It leaves that open, and then now you got to scramble to get back to it. You know what I mean? That's one of the. I mean, we've been talking about it for years. That's one of the downfalls of playing so heavy into the paint. Right? You leave you leave it open, and guys got to be able to. The hope is that you're playing enough on-ball defense that it's hard for the passer to even get that cross-court pass off, and they got to go one pass away, and then the defense can rotate back as the ball is going around the perimeter. But if you're not playing strong enough on-ball defense, then they can get that pass off. And it's tough. It's tougher than you think to get there if you're not in the proper position to pick the pass.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
And then you got to get set, and then they can go right around you, and then that just creates openness.
Right.
Yep.
Hey, before I get out of here, I was prepared in case we wanted to do the losers lounge. I was gonna thug it out, but I just wanted to say one of the comments. The dude said, "I hope Karl Anthony Towns has 80 points." So you guys would trade for him? I thought that was funny.
Yeah, but, 17 points, 5 rebounds for night for Karl Anthony Towns.
Oh man. But let me get out of here. I gotta get up early. Salute to y'all. See y'all next time.
No doubt about
Tuesday,
it.
Right? Tuesday night.
Yeah, Tuesday night. Yep.
All right. Shout out to the chat. Yo, Blackest Time.
No doubt.
Peace.
All right, peace.
Peace, Josh.
Peace. Josh, any decisions that you liked or disliked from Coach Tom Thibodeau tonight?
Well, I like the fact that we were able to see first, the biggest thing for me, we know that Josh Hart's going to be that ninth man. He's going to be that backup for either him or RJ. Yeah. There's no doubt that. So I like the fact that Tibbs went with that early and we got a chance to see it. And I think if I had to assume, I'm 99% sure that that's the lineup he's going to go with it, not go with the Sims lineup.
Oh, yeah.
So I like that. I like that. Outside of that, I mean, trying new things. I like the fact that Tom Thibodeau's doing that. Nothing really jumped off at me except that the Josh Hart coming back and the transition stuff.
Yeah. I don't know if it's preseason, so there's not going to be many critical decisions that he can make in preseason. You know what I'm saying? I guess the only thing that I would see with his decision making is the Evan Fournier playing as much as he played, because I was questioning whether or not Evan Fournier just played Josh Hart's minutes, and then if he was gonna. But when I seen him get in, I was like, oh, okay, so he actually is getting in, and so I still am just wondering if he's actually giving him a hard look. We'll find out in Game 4, because that's supposed to be the dress rehearsal.
Right.
So if Evan Fournier plays in Game 4, then maybe he's going to give him a look until he's traded.
What if, I don't know if this is for sure what's happening right now, but what if the front office is like, play Evan Fournier, try to get a trade value up?
If they are, then he's picking the right spot to play him.
Okay.
Right? If they are saying that, then he's choosing the right spot to play him.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Choosing the right spot to play him. Rather than trying to, start him or whatever. Like, okay, you know what? We'll give you some minutes off the bench. There's a spot there. We got defenders on the bench. You know what I mean? It's a good spot where, we can get out in transition. You can get some open shots. You know what I mean? You can do some of those type of things. But, it may just help the team. What happens if he's really, really helping the team? Do you just force the trade if you're not trading for, somebody significant? Do you just force it?
No, I personally, if it was up to me, I would definitely trade him for someone of a higher thing because of his money, because of the money situation.
Right.
But to me, people want to talk about what Evan Fournier doesn't bring defensively. I get that, right? But I think offensively he helps us. Like everything we're talking about, what we want Grimes to do, I think Fournier best fits.
He does.
That, like, out of all the two guards or so-called two guards on the roster, I think Evan Fournier kind of fits in that spot. He has the ability to catch and shoot. He has the ability to go off the dribble a little bit. Has the ability to run the break. It's just that the defensive part is what's lacking. Yeah. So I think he still can help us, but I think the writing's on the wall. I think
he's going to get traded too. But that's the reason why they brought him in the first place, because I think they thought he was going to be a good fit there. But I guess defensively, Tom Thibodeau was just like he doesn't do what we need for him to do defensively.
Right.
you know, we'll see. What are your main takeaways from tonight's game?
Like I said, Josh Hart Josh Hart's going to be that guy, the ninth man in the rotation. We have really good man-to-man guards, man-to-man defensive guards. Getting in those passing lanes, I think we can really cause some havoc and get in the transition game, which I think we'll need whenever our half-court offense is not operating out all cylinders. Yeah, I mean that's really it. That's really it for me. Glad to see RJ had a really nice game. He also plays really well with the second unit, so hopefully he can continue and carry that over into the regular season with those minutes that he'll get there. So yeah, everything, the rotation looks really good. And I think that first half showed us who's really going to be out there on the floor for the start of the season.
Yeah. For me, one of my biggest takeaways is the transition offense. And the fact that we're really looking up to push the ball up the floor, not by dribbling, but by passing. Right. That's a big takeaway for me because I think we have guys that if we try to get downhill as much as possible, we can really put a lot of pressure on opposing teams if we get downhill. You know what I mean? We have guys that can do it. So I really want to see the Knicks try to play a little bit faster. And,
well, it starts with the defensive end, though, Tim. It starts with the defense and forcing those turnovers and getting in those passing lanes.
Yeah, no doubt. Starts, defense, rebounding, and then being able to get out and go. Looking at, and it's preseason, so it's just preseason. But what I've seen from Randall in his time on the floor, he doesn't seem to be like forcing too much. Willing to try to play within the flow of the game. He made some mistakes. I think he had 2 turnovers, but it doesn't look like he's trying to force too much and playing within the flow of the game, let the game come to him, and I hope he continues to play that way. I think if he plays that way, he takes a little bit of pressure off of himself too, talking about that mental part of the game.
Is that the best Julius Randle, you think, when he's like kind of a little bit more conservative? Because I remember us talking about it last year. Julius Randle is Julius Randle. The mental style we know about, how that can be very volatile, right? But his offensive game and what he does offensively is based on the fact that he is aggressive.
Yeah.
At times with the ball in his hands.
Right. I think he can still be aggressive. Right. And be the guy that plays with that energy, just letting the game come to him. You know what I mean? He said he's, just looking at and trying to be, he didn't say try to be more cerebral, but, understanding the game better, and being able to see it from, approach it from a mental standpoint. So we'll see, and it looks like to me, but it could just be preseason. But,
right.
It looks like he's just, he's letting the game come to him a little bit better. His ankle does seem to be fully healthy. He doesn't seem to be favoring it or doing anything like that. So that's always good. You know what I mean? That's really good. And I think, we're talking about all this continuity. Hopefully players strengthen their hands because, when Julius Randle throws some of them passes out there, I mean, they should be used to it by now. But that one pass that they threw to RJ in the corner, I mean, that joint was a bullet. But RJ caught that joint. He caught it, boom, and knocked down the 3. But that was a bullet, though. So I'm assuming the players are pretty much used to the way that he passes the ball. And, they're ready for it now. Because I know before, and you know what I noticed, too? Well, it's preseason, so you don't know. But he's done it less and less every year. I remember his first year, he would pass it to you and then come running at you 100 miles an hour to set a screen. It was like, what the heck is going on? But he's doing less and less of that. I don't think I've, over these 2 preseason games, the time that he's been out there, I haven't seen him do that at all.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
he still jumps in the air when he passes, though. I don't know if the bullet pass is just like a panic thing, like trying to get it out there as fast as he can because he's like in panic mode when he leaves his feet. I don't know if it's that, but I do notice that, and that's something we do have to clean up with him when he dribbles, goes into the paint, and then they come over and trap or double team, and he tries to look and try to get that pass out there. He does leap in the air and
he leaps in it. He does that. He does
position.
that. He did it all last season and probably I guess the season before, and he comes this close to traveling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But what happens though, when you do that, I mean, we know Julius Randle's he's strong, right? We know that. But it becomes harder to get an accurate pass off because you don't have a base.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you're not passing from a base. So now you're in the air and you're relying on the power to get the ball to get it there.
And that's why they're inaccurate. That's why the passes.
And a lot of times that's why they're inaccurate because he's
right.
You know, he doesn't have a base to pass from. You know, he's in the air. So now he's, you know, trying to hang in the air to get the pass off. You know what I mean? Just about every time I'm like, dang, he's about to travel. He's about to travel. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I don't know if they're gonna work on it or not. Doesn't seem like they don't seem to be too concerned about it because he's still doing it.
Right.
You know, because he's still doing it. But anyway, you know, I thought it was a well played game. You know, for the first 3 quarters. You know, just a well played basketball game from both sides. Both teams I thought were playing decent basketball. Let me ask you this: over 2 games, with Emmanuel Quickley. Well, you probably see it more today than the last game because the last game Julius Randle didn't play in the second half. But over 2 preseason games, how do you think Emmanuel Quickley looks as a starter? Because like today, when he started in the second half, he was a starter, right?
Right. You're talking about? I mean,
well, he started the second half and played with the starters for, you know, that second quarter. How does he look as a starter to you?
Not great, not the best. I think he looked kind of average. Took him a while to kind of get going a bit. Still a little bit indecisive out there on the floor when he has the ball in his hands as far as, you know, what shots should he take. But the thing is, he's not forcing up bad shots. I think that's an improvement, but he still looks a little bit indecisive. And, you know, he still has some work to do in that regard, in my opinion, as a starting point guard.
Right.
Starting point guard.
As a starting point guard. Yeah. You know, Kenny Payne says terrible. I mean, I don't know if he looks terrible, but he doesn't look like a guy that's running the show and in command of the show. He doesn't look like that to me. You know what I mean?
Maybe because the second unit plays faster, they're getting a little bit more transition points.
Yeah.
Balls moving around a little bit more, probably.
Right. You know, in the second unit, you know, like it just runs through him. It pounds through him. You know what I mean? At times, you know, we'll see if that dwindles throughout the year. But you know, sometimes it just really pounds through him. So we'll see. Keith Turner said IQ was already started for this team when Brunson was out. Yeah, I know, but that was last year. You know, this year is a whole different year. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know?
And also last year in the starting unit, again, to reiterate, the starting unit is much slower. They play more half-court style, right, where they need people to actually pull up and break down and get off the dribble. And that's how IQ can play. If he has the ball in his hands, he can do that sort of thing. In the second unit, they just play much faster, right? So they get easier buckets. IQ doesn't necessarily have to be ball dominant. He doesn't have to, right? Yeah. And that's why he doesn't look as good in certain situations because the ball is just moving around. DiVincenzo's touching it, Josh Hart's touching it at times, and the ball is just kind of flowing that way.
Yeah. And the reason why I think it was Keith Turner who said it, you know, players work on their game throughout the off season. You know, so when you come back, you want to say, okay, well, how did it look? You know, how's he look playing with that first unit? It's a much better fit with Jalen Brunson.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Much better fit with Jalen Brunson there. You know, so, you know, just when I look at it and people ask, you know, will a team offer him a starting spot? I don't know. I don't know if they.
All depends on the team.
They might. All depends on the team. Right. All depends on the team.
Yeah.
We'll see. But ladies and gentlemen, anything else? Anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
Yeah, my last words, I just want to say shout out to Nate Robinson. It was good to see him at the game today. I know he went through some health issues. He looks relatively healthy, so I'm going to say shout out to him. Him and Al Harrington was at the game on the baseline. So kudos to him, and hopefully he's doing well, him and his family.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get up out of here for the night. Reminder, you know, we got 2 tickets left for the Knicks versus Cavs on November the 1st, $155 per ticket. section 223, 224, 225. There's a link in the description of the video. There's also one pinned to the top of your YouTube chat. But we're going to get out of here for the night, ladies and gentlemen. And, I'll see if I'm going to be able to, I'll jump on tomorrow. I want to give Andy a chance to get something off his chest since Evan Fournier, So, try to get Andy up in here, let him get something off his chest. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of here. Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When send past the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Knick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.